Hey everybody, it's Roxy, Kyler, and Eli, and we are so excited to be with you on Pentecost Sunday, which is today. And this is the day that the Holy Spirit came down and is with us forever and ever. And we are just so excited to be able to be the church with you all. This is kind of like the beginning of the church's birthday, when the Holy Spirit came down and tongues of fire came on each of the disciples' heads, and they were able to speak different languages, to speak to other people in other languages about Jesus. And that is the beginning of our church and of being able to share the news of Jesus. And that is just so cool. And to me, it just tells about the importance of diversity. They were able to speak these different languages that no one had ever spoken before, to go out and preach, and each one of them was different. Similarly, in nature, we have diverse trees and plants and flowers, and each one plays a different role with different fruit. And today we are going to focus on the fruit and nuts of trees. So the fruits of the Spirit, as y'all remember from our bracelet, Fruits of the Spirit, Eunoia friendship bracelet that we did this time last year, our fruits of the Spirit are love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Those are the fruits of the Spirit, the fruit to which we hope to bear, that we are loving, we hope and pray and work hard to be kind and gentle and have self-control, and we are constantly working on that. So for our reforest lesson today, we're going to be learning about trees and nuts, and we are going to meet at 4 p.m. today for Forest Sunday School. We'll meet in the same spot in Brownwood Park, and we'll start on that same side just so everyone is able to be together, but then we'll walk across to where we are now, which is in their fruit tree orchard next to their community garden. So if you're a little late, we might just be on the other side of Pendleton Street, and we'll be able to identify some fruit-bearing trees that are around us that many of you might have played next to and never realized that they bore fruit, which we can eventually eat. None of it's really ready for harvest yet, but later this summer it will be. So stay tuned for that. And
bye.
We look forward to seeing y'all later.
Bye.
Now's our time to read The Magic and Mystery of Trees, written by Jen Green. If you have this book, you're welcome to go grab it now, but if not, you can follow along on the pages on your screen. Today we're going to learn about flowers, fruits, and seeds. Trees need to make new trees for the forest to stay healthy. That's why they grow flowers, fruits, and seeds. The flowers bloom in spring. During the warm days of spring, bees buzz from tree to tree, visiting as many flowers as they can. Seeds are like bundles that contain a whole new tree ready to grow. They ripen in the summer and fall. Each seed needs to find a good place to grow. Trees, like all living things, are born, grow, and eventually die. But they leave behind the promise of a new forest still to come. Flowers. Trees that want to attract insects have large, showy flowers, while ones that spread pollen on the wind have tiny, delicate ones. Some tree flowers are so small that they can be tricky to spot, but they have vital work to do. Blossoms. In spring, apple and cherry trees are covered with flowers that we call blossoms. These flowers make the trees look beautiful, but their main job is to tell insects, such as bees, that there's a treat ready for them. This picture is showing a cherry tree blossom. Did you know flowers have male and female parts? The male part produces pollen. The female part makes eggs. Male pollen must combine with these eggs to make them fertile, and then they ripen into seeds. The bright colors and sweet smells of flowers tell the insects the nectar is ready. Little helpers. Insects visit flowers to drink a sweet liquid called nectar. Any pollen grains from the flower that get on the insect's body rub off inside the next flower that the bee visits. This makes the next flower fertile. This is called pollination. Grains of pollen stick to the bee's hairy body. Pines and firs spread their pollen on the wind. You see those tiny yellow dots? That's the pollen. Achoo! Fruits and seeds. Once the tree's flowers have been made fertile by pollen, it is time for seeds to grow. They can develop into fruits, cones, hard shells, or papery covers. Conifer seeds. Most conifer trees make their seeds inside cones, pine cones, not fruits. When the seeds are ripe, the cones open. The light, papery seeds tumble out and blow away on the breeze. Yew and junipers are unusual conifers. They make small, bitter berries. Birds love them. Fruits. If you've ever enjoyed a crispy apple or juicy cherry, you've eaten the fruit of a broad-leaved tree. Mangoes, peaches, and cherries contain just one large seed called a stone. Apples, oranges, and lemons have many small seeds called pips. The hard shell on these seeds look very different, but they all do the same job. They protect seeds and help them spread. Hazel, chestnut, and walnut trees make seeds with hard shells. We call these nuts. Acorns are the seeds of oak trees. Maple and sycamore seeds have a double wing. They spin like miniature helicopter blades to land far away. Blown on the wind. Tree seeds must be scattered far and wide so that new trees can grow. Some seeds are scattered by the wind. Sycamore, maple, and ash trees have light-winged seeds that spin through the air. Carried by currents. Trees that live by the river and oceans make seeds that float. The current carries them away. Coconut palms grow on the seashore in warm places. Ripe coconuts plop into the water. The tide washes them away to take root on a distant coast. Coconuts are light enough that they can float. Animal assistance. Animals love the bright colors and mouth-watering smells of fruit. Trees get animals to spread their seeds for them by putting them inside delicious things. Adventure time. For children, the best place to grow up is near our parents, who provide everything that we need. Trees are very different. They like their seeds to travel alone to distant places. Fast-moving animals provide a perfect transportation system. Buried nuts. In fall, squirrels and blue jays prepare for winter by burying nuts and acorns. These nuts provide a handy source of food during the long, bleak months of winter, as long as the animal doesn't forget where it buried its food. Any forgotten seeds will sprout into new trees in the spring. Monkey dung. Monkeys love to feast on figs. They can digest the juicy flesh, but the hard seeds pass right through the animals' bodies and come out in their poo. As the monkeys wander from tree to tree, the seeds in their dung get scattered all over the forest. Monkey poo contains all the nutrients a seed needs to sprout and grow strong and healthy. From seed to tree. Trees are the tallest living things in the world, but they are born from tiny seeds. Growing to their full height can take 100 years. Here's how young oaks sprout from a little acorn to grow taller than a house. Seeds are full of food to keep the seedlings going until it can make its own food. First, it starts with an acorn, then a root, then a young tree is called a sapling or a seedling. Sprouting. If a seed lands in moist soil in a warm, light place, big changes start to happen. The seeds swell and the case splits open. A tiny root pokes down to take in water. Getting taller. A small green shoot pushes up through the soil. Once the first leaves unfurl in the sunlight, the young plant can make its own food. A new little tree is born. Growing older. Humans grow during their childhood, but we stop when we become adults. Trees are different. They continue growing. What's more, they live at least 5 times as long as we do. At 100 years old, many trees are still youngsters. Taller and wider. As the trees get older, its upward growth slows and finally stops when it reaches full height. But if there is space, its branches and trunk continue getting wider. The trunk of a big oak tree grows about 1 inch wider each year. Oak trees keep getting wider for 500 to 600 years. That's such a long time. I wonder, what did you learn about the fruits of trees and the nuts of trees today? I wonder what kind of fruits of kindness and love and joy you can plant in our world. Have a great day. For our creative response today, go on a nature walk and look for different types of fruit, nuts, and seeds. Can you identify what the tree is by looking at the fruit? Are there any nuts laying around the ground? What does this tell you about how the tree needs to be pollinated? Our first tree is evergreen, meaning it keeps its green leaves all year round. It has small, tropical-looking orange fruit. Any idea what it is? A loquat! Next is a tropical herbaceous plant, meaning it doesn't have a woody stem. It has a yellow fruit that's one of our breakfast favorites, a banana. This next tree, you can use the leaves for tea and eat the fruit. It pairs well with goat cheese. It never has a flower on the outside, but instead hundreds of flowers on the inside that are pollinated by a wasp entering the fruit through an opening at the bottom, pollinating the flowers on the inside, then digging tunnels to get out of the fruit. Any thoughts? This one is a fig tree. Here's one of my favorites, an evergreen shrub or bush that produces a yummy treat to pop in your mouth raw or into a smoothie. Pineapple guava. In the spring, this tree is covered with beautiful white blossoms. This is one of our favorites also, a pear tree. This next tree likes to grow in wet soils and disturbed soils, so you can find it along the beltline oftentimes. You can also make medicine from its berries. This is elderberry. This tree is grown for beautiful leaves and edible orange fruit in the winter and fall seasons. This one is the American persimmons. This final fruit tree has fancy red blossoms. It's actually in the berry family and is classified as a superfruit. Any thoughts on what this one is? A pomegranate tree. This was a fun game to play, and I hope that y'all learned more about the fancy fruit trees that we can grow in our climate. Growing fruit requires patience, kindness, gentleness. Gardening requires love, but it also brings you joy and happiness. I hope that while we're out exploring different types of fruit, we remember to use our fruits of the Spirit as we go along in our journey. Thanks so much for exploring with us today.